Hey, welcome to Early Access Control, Alpha, Beta, and Abandoned. And today I'm taking a look at a game called Undead City by RedGrit Games. Now, this was introduced to me by the dev back in the summertime. They had messaged me on Steam to see if I wanted to do a review for the product that they released, and just kind of give my impression of their early access launch. Didn't know anything about the project, so obviously I said sure. I didn't get around to actually really communicating them to a couple months after they reached out. My apologies for that, but they did follow through with getting me a key, and then I finally logged in maybe November, and I was able to kind of get an idea what this game was about. Again, December went by, super busy with a bunch of other projects. So finally, here we are. Happy New Year, 2025. January 1st, and this is the first video I'm putting out. So with that said, I took a look at kind of everything. I looked at, did a little bit of due diligence, saw what was put out before. Turns out there's a demo that was offered to people prior to this early access launch, which it launched at 15 bucks. Very high price point for this, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But it looks like the demo was kind of akin to one of the missions that you're going to see packaged in this. Now, Undead City is trying to be an extraction shooter. Now, I don't know whether the intention was when its first demo launched, if that was the goal. Maybe it was, but that's where it is now. And so, you look at what they put out for a demo, and it did look kind of interesting. So I imagine there was a little bit of a following. I think they probably did get interested in the game as more content creators had put videos out, kind of first impressions of this demo, which is great. But unfortunately, I didn't see any follow up videos from people, so that probably means maybe they lost interest or didn't. Who knows? Maybe what they have now, and which has been packaged into the game, didn't really see. It wasn't going where they initially kind of piqued their interest. You know, it happens. It's all good. So when you fire up this game, you're going to be met with, a little splash screen, little intro story, AI generated images, which is always kind of a bad thing to kind of lead into a game, especially when they're not acknowledged as AI. So I just word to the developers out there, the indie devs, if you are using AI images on any of your stuff, especially in an intro scene to your game, just highlight it, say, yeah, this is AI. Can be a little tiny thing, acknowledge it. That'll make the community much more accepting of those products, because potentially they will change. Maybe it's just one of those things, right? It just makes sense to do that, especially in this day and age that where this content is kind of everywhere. So when you do load up the game, you're going to be met with a couple options. You're going to be able to create a character, a couple of these flavor things that give you a kind of an idea that the game is actually maybe more than what the demo was. So you can name your character, you can pick an occupation, you can pick if it's young, middle age, or old. Set your camp location, name your camp, all these kind of things. And it ties into kind of a lobby where you're going to be a co-op person to do these missions. And then, if you're familiar with Tarkov or anything like that, those extractions, you're going to grab loot in the world, and your goal is to get back to, I guess, your camp in this game, where you can put all that kind of stuff in your stash and have it for future missions. One thing I did like that RedGrit Games did, right on their front page, as soon as you enter the game, you're going to be met with a roadmap button as well as a Discord button. Now, I didn't show the roadmap on the video. I can tell you, I opened it up. Nothing's been added since the moment it launched, and that's never a good scene, especially if we're 6 to 7 months past now. So as you get back, as you get into the game, and you select your kind of, I guess, mission that you're gonna focus on. You'll jump in the game. You're met with some running zombies, some really basic mobs. The enemies will track you. The enemies will will hear noise. So if you shoot a loud gun, or if you blow up a barrel, these kind of things will trigger mobs to come find you, which is a good step in the right direction. Now, this being an extraction shooter, I would expect you to get a little bit more variation of where you're going to acquire this loot or how you're going to get it. It seems to me there's only really three kind of things that you can kind of do in this. You kill the zombies, you get some loot. You open car doors or trunks, you get some loot, or you open up a car door or a police trunk and there's like a foot locker, and then there's a little lock picking game kind of a la Skyrim that will allow you to open and get loot. The only one building you can go into in the whole city, in the whole Undead City, which is not good, is the main objective of the very first mission called Gear Up. So Gear Up sends you to a police station. Ramirez hops on the radio and he's like, "Hey, Mr. Ramirez, check out or grab me some loot from the police station and then make your way to the extraction point." That's it, right? So the only thing in the game where that actually feels like you're actually exploring an Undead City is you can go into this this police station. So right off the bat, like, the developer has to, I guess, figure out what he's trying to achieve here. So this isn't an extraction shooter as it is right now. It's testing your looting systems and your extraction system, but other than that, the gameplay is extremely normal. There's sort of an objective when you kill zombies and you get timed out. It will give you like a number of zombies killed and how long it took you to extract or play the level. So I guess you could do speed runs down the line. Maybe there's going to be a leaderboard. Maybe there's going to be achievements and all these kind of things. But right there, those things have to be acknowledged, and they should be acknowledged further front and center if you're going to be putting this game out, especially at a $15 price tag. So I'm not going to be super overcritical about the movement or the gunplay or anything like that. I mean, that kind of stuff can be tweaked. It's a broader picture of the game design that really has to be focused on here, and the gameplay loop. So you're going to have zero player engagement unless there's things that are going to tie each other to play this game. So, that being the achievements or a leaderboard or something like that. Why is anybody going to be spending time in this if they just can, get the loot and then, there's nothing to really, there's no gamification of it, and I should highlight, though, it's extremely easy, the game and the missions. The mob attacks are very basic. Your most powerful weapon is probably your combat knife, and there's no real reason to use bullets except for the extraction when mobs kind of swarm you, and you got to mow them down as best you can. But you've got to do headshots, or it's going to take 4 bullets or so to kill each one through the body. Typical kind of zombie stuff, it's not that huge, but for the main play of the game, just use a knife. You can sprint through everything, just stab these zombies in the head and do what you can. But then back to saying, like, all that loot that you get, it's not really needed. You need a combat knife and then a high vantage point on a car roof or something, or the barrels to time out the 1 minute extraction timer that it makes you wait. So unfortunately, for $15.99 or $15, it's not there yet. This is essentially the demo that should have initially been released. They should have left out the roadmap. They needed to redefine it. One thing I should highlight too, though, is that I did hear that they were upgrading the engine. And I'm not certain if this is on Unreal Engine or Unity. Most likely it's probably Unity, but back to the comment regarding it was an asset flip based off tutorials. I haven't seen the tutorial, not super familiar with this particular genre of game to put out. It's not like a survival zombie game, but so in terms of that, I can't really say. But if it is Unreal Engine, which I'm very familiar with, the chances are maybe nothing's happened to the game because they didn't they didn't have version control correctly done, and when Unreal updated itself, it actually wrecked some of the other code, and which has happened before. And so it's one of those things where maybe their back end, or where they're developing, really got screwed up, so they're left with this package thing, and then maybe they're starting over, and who really knows. But fortunately, that's something that indie devs really have to focus on when it comes to that kind of thing, is protecting that, especially with a game engine like Unreal that's constantly being upgraded. But with that said, I appreciate getting the key for free. There's way too much lacking right now in communication from RedGrit Games, from the roadmap, or from anything to really take this game seriously. Again, I think they should acknowledge a couple things in this, set this as the game demo, maybe switch this to free, let people play this, and then really take a look at how to relaunch and rebrand. Things you're going to want to focus on, RedGrit Games, is make the city interesting. So how about make the buildings accessible? Figure out a way to tie missions to specific buildings. Right now, there's only a police station that differentiates itself from anything else in the world. So zero reason to really play other than that one mission. If you can do that, you're gonna attract a little bit more staying power. But yeah, I'd love to hear what other people think of this game. Unfortunately, it's not worth $15, and hopefully we can kind of see where this dev goes. What they first and foremost do, though, they need to acknowledge this project pretty quick, because it's been pretty silent and we don't want to chalk it up to being abandoned yet. So all right, so well, hopefully you enjoyed that video, and yeah, leave me a like and a comment, and I'll certainly be making more of these. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.